I knew I would get you guys with the title like How to Look Spiritual. Um, let's unpack this because it's something that's been coming up. I've got an opinion about it and I want to share that with you guys. It's interesting because I seen a meme a long time ago that said, "You don't look like a healer." And then it said, "God, I'm looking for healers, not actors." But let's talk about this in the spiritual community. And we see on social media that there's this a huge movement of people looking a certain way and people having a certain idea of what somebody spiritual looks like versus somebody who's not. And a lot on social media, you're seeing the people with the white linen and the beads and the more bracelets you wear, the more beads you wear, the more spiritual you are, the more feathers you have, all of that. And uh I have, all I have kimonos, I've got the beads, I've got all the props for the energy work that I do, for the energy healing that I do, the feathers, the sage, and I use all these divination tools. And I do understand. So here's one of the reasons why spiritually enlightened people dress like that. Just number one, is because they're paying attention to the frequency of fabrics. And if you guys don't know about this, this is really cool. Um, Fabrics, everything has a frequency, everything is energy, everything has a frequency, and the frequency of wool is right in sync with what your body loves. So your body thrives when it's wearing wool. Your body thrives when it's wearing linen. The frequency of wool, the frequency of linen, the frequency of pure cotton is really awesome for you as well. Interesting thing though is that the frequency of wool and linen together actually cancels each other out. So don't do that. Don't wear linen and wool together, but separately, they have a very high vibrating frequency. Things like polyester or synthetic material, or like a lot of the stuff that you buy off these cheap companies like Shein has a very, very low frequency and actually brings the body into dis-ease. So the body can thrive and it really loves the frequency of wool or linen. And when you're wearing like polyester or nylon or these like synthetic spandex materials, it actually lowers your body's natural state of frequency. It's actually less than that. So it's actually bringing the body down and it's actually bringing the body into a state of dis-ease, which causes disease. And it's so interesting, even our clothes are making us sick. So, I mean, I can't say that I'm wearing like a totally linen or anything wool right now. I think this is just cotton. But yeah, so this interesting side note about the fabrics that people wear. So I get it. That's why spiritually enlightened people like to be very mindful and purposeful about the types of fabrics that they're wearing. Same like with a lot of people that become enlightened and become educated about how all of these different things affect your body, affect your pineal gland, if they're, calcifying your pineal gland or lowering your vibration. A lot of these people are mindful about that kind of stuff. They'll switch out a lot of toxins for natural supplements, like switching out your hairspray or switching out shampoos filled with chemicals and going natural and soaps and candles and to essential oils and all of this stuff, right? You see a lot of these people becoming this way. And it's not just for like the health movement of it. There's a deeper level to this, and it has to do with frequency, and it has to do with how naturally your body can vibe high and what is actually lowering the vibration. Everything, almost everything in spirituality is either like raising your vibration or lowering it. So that's like very, very simple kind of thing that you can narrow almost everything down to, including clothes you wear. But let's talk about this whole thing around looking spiritual. Because it's funny at the gym when I'm working out, I'm wearing a Rammstein t-shirt right now, guys. This is a German metal band, right? So like this, people would see me on the street and they wouldn't never think that I do what I do, that I'm like a multidimensional quantum healing facilitator that like goes deep dives into the chakras, channels the higher self, channels spirit guides, and all of that. If you saw me at the gym, you'd never think that I do that. In fact, I did a Reiki treatment on someone, and literally 2 days later, I was at the gym and they went by me like 6 times until I texted them and I was like, hey, I'm right beside you in the green matching piece. And they're like, whoa. And I'm like, right? So you don't know, you have no idea what people are doing, who they are, and all of that kind of stuff. And I think social media has given it this wrong image of portraying when you're spiritual, you're, wearing linens and you're out in nature and you're caressing flowers, and you don't look at somebody, like this and think that they're necessarily super spiritual. And it's funny because I've even caught myself doing the same thing where I am like a super multidimensional being. 1 minute I'm at a metal concert, the next minute I'm, really deep into transcendental meditation, like doing energy work and healing and touching the grass and earthing and a heart on heart chakras, you're crying and being vulnerable, like all of these things. It's like from one spectrum to the next. And I've caught myself before where I will change out of what I'm wearing and put on my kimono, my beads, do my hair differently, all of these things. And it's like, okay, you can wear the mask if it makes you feel better, but on the inside, we're all just us. And we all just show up vulnerably, authentically, ready to connect, wanting to break down our barriers, wanting to disintegrate our egos. We're on our healing journey. We're here to help each other. We're real people helping real people. We're showing up in authenticity. And authenticity is actually even a higher vibration. It's a higher frequency than love. Did you know that? Love is like they say love is the highest frequency. It's actually authenticity. Because taking it from this perspective. So authenticity isn't like, well, I'm a piece of shit. That's who I am. I'm just showing up as I am. It's like, no, 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 no. That is not the authenticity that we're talking about. The authenticity that we're talking about is how much you allow your true self, the divine self, to shine through you as a person. And when you do that, it's not the clothes that you wear, it's not all of that. When you show up as who you really are, that divine, pure, positive, light, love energy, the extension of source energy, your most divine self, that self that isn't wearing all these different masks, trying to be somebody that they're not, still playing into their ego, all of these things, right? This divine self is pure light, positive love and energy. And that's the authenticity that we're talking about when we're talking about authenticity being of the highest frequency. A lot of the people, okay, so I would call it like the first wave of people that are in their spiritual awakening, where they go ahead and they do that. So they they have their spiritual awakening, and then they start dressing differently, and then they start an Instagram account, and then they call themselves, the this and the that. And I'm not mocking any of it. I'm not saying that any of it is bad. Nothing like that. Okay. I'm not condemning any of it. I myself play into that kind of stuff because things do change, and real authentic things change in your life, and you do see things from a different perspective. You do evolve into a different person. But I just want to bring this up, that later on down the road, you have another awakening and another awakening and another awakening. And then you're like, wait, these were all just masks that I put on, and I dressed the way that I thought other people wanted me to look. But really, we can all show up super authentically. So you can wear your Metallica t-shirt if you want, and you're no less spiritual than the person who shows up in white linen and beads and has the feathers and all the fancy bracelets and the charms and the crystals and stuff. Okay. I just want you guys to know that there's like some of us and some of you have to go through that cycle only to realize that, hey, those were just more masks that I was wearing that had to do with my ego. And when we are in a healing circle together, I don't need you to look a certain way because it's not about that. If you want to wear higher vibrational fabrics because you're conscious of the different frequencies and how they affect your body and all of that, or if you feel better dressing a certain way, then awesome. That's so great for you. But don't feel like you have to take off one outfit and put another outfit on because all of a sudden now you're playing the part. Okay. That's what I want to bring to everybody's like attention. That's what I want to talk about. The most beautiful part of my plant medicine journey that I just did was that nothing was like that. My facilitator invited me into her home. She's like, this is the real us. This is how we live. We're gonna do it right here in my home. And this is it. We're normal people having a normal human experience. We're not gonna like fake it or anything. And it was so real and so authentic. And that's exactly what I was looking for. That's exactly what my soul needed. And I healed through that experience. And I healed through experiencing that real authenticity without any masks. And then when the combo shaman came in, he was wearing a baseball cap, a regular t-shirt, some shorts. He came in with his buckets because in case we purged, that had his divination tools, had his feathers and his rattle and his his sage and all of that. But he just showed up a regular guy. But you could tell by his energy, the way his energy filled the room, he was so calm. He was such a beautiful soul. His essence spoke for him. It didn't matter what he looked like. I caught myself though at first because I'm like everybody else who is this just as ingrained in your psyche to be like, well, you don't look like a shaman. Like stop it. Catch yourself. Check yourself when you're thinking this way. I know that I do. And I've been having conversations like this with a lot of people, and they're like, it's the new earth. Get over it. You're not, everybody first of all, everybody is a spirit having a human experience, not the other way around. You're not a human, intermittently every once and again now having a spiritual experience. No, you're a spiritual being having a human experience. So you're already spiritual. So the more, you tap into yourself, your true authenticity, that's the juice right there. That's the real flex. I was just masterminding with a girlfriend of mine who's like totally in the fitness realm. She's a weight loss coach, and she's like, I want to do something deeper. I've had my own spiritual experiences through doing plant medicine, through enlightening experiences, through my meditation, the downloads that I'm getting, the energy that's rising in through me, the Kundalini type energy. She's like, I'm feeling all of this and I want to layer it into my business. I want a deeper connection, a deeper vulnerability. I want to actually, change lives. And I realized that working on the superficial of a weight loss thing is just not really cutting it. But she's like right there in it, and we can talk about all of this stuff. And she's always in workout clothes. And she's like, I get the same thing, that people have a certain idea of what spiritual people look like in their heads. And they just got to get rid of that idea in their heads, because it's not like that. I recently saw another reel that was hilarious. It was this couple that obviously owns a retreat center in Costa Rica, and they were kicking back on the porch, eating Cheetos and had like a Coke or a Pepsi or whatever. And they heard like people coming. They're like, quick, the retreat's starting soon. So they like ran to their little table and put on all these beads, put on their robes and put some feathers in their hair and put some like whatever on their face, some tribal paint or whatever. It was like, they're like, now we're ready. It was so funny because it totally highlighted this. And it was like, yeah, that's exactly the kind of shit that I'm talking about here. We can't judge a book by its cover. It's not what matters, what you're wearing. You can't, spiritual people don't look spiritual. And some of the people that look spiritual ain't so spiritual. We all have shit to do. We all have an ego, many, 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 many layers to the ego. And every time that you peel off another layer of the ego, you're actually going more into an authentic version of yourself. You're actually raising your vibrational frequency. The ego has its place too. That's another video for another day. But just catch yourself, just check yourself when you're thinking this way. And also just know that nobody can take away what you've got inside of you. So what you experience when you are deep in meditation, when you're getting the downloads, when you're living your life in a from a heightened perspective, from a more aware perspective, and you're like, you're going to your more true authentic self, do what feels right for you. But I really hope that you guys, in closing, are never going to try to be something else. And if you catch yourself wearing these many masks that we all wear and that we all have, and that we all realize, someday, God, this is a mask too that I've been wearing. And I'm starting to see this wave in the spiritual community of people that have gone through that process and then being like, yeah, this is stupid. So I know how this feels because like I said, I wear my Rammstein t-shirt, go to at the gym, you would never know if my veins are popping out of my neck. And I'm like, ah, you just never think that at the same time, on the other end of the spectrum, that I can speak very, very lovingly and very quietly and tap deep and have this really soft side to me, this very calm side. So we are the full spectrum of human emotion. We have the full human experiential cycle that where all of this exists. Everything is honored, but just keep this in mind. Okay. Namaste.